Yeah, there's some chairs up there.
Check, testing 1, 2, 3. We're doing a mic check of our live stream audio. Thank you so much. Our meeting will begin at 5:30, and I believe that is with our K5 team. For those of you here, we are streaming online on Facebook and on YouTube. The link can be found at bobcat.k12.ar.us. Ms. Graham, would you like to pull up your PowerPoint?
Is there a place for me to plug it in? Well, I guess I could pull it up just here.
I'm going to test this one as well. Make sure we have audio on this one. Awesome. And this will be our last microphone 3, testing the audio on microphone 3 for the stream. You can just use this laptop if you want. The link is at bobcat.k12.ar.us. There's a banner at the top of the page. What is that? Do you have a charger for it? Okay, great. Yes, we are. Is the charger fit? Possibly. One of them. Let's see. And we can unplug this one. I'll let you do that. I think that's a text side, not a screen side.
Do you both have individual?
Uh-oh, something happened. Lost it. Why did it go away?
No, I took it away. That was mine. That was mine.
Check. This is the virtual school parent meeting, August 6th. Just one last reminder that the link for this meeting can be found on the school's Facebook page. And it can also be found on the school's website, bobcat.k12.ar.us.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming out. We have a tremendous amount of information to share, and we're excited to share the information about the Berryville Virtual Academy. We want to go through this process. Hopefully, as we give our presentation, we'll clear up questions that you might have. We also had several questions submitted online that we will share the answers to those questions. And then I would encourage you, because we all know during these trying times, we all have a ton of questions. And so after our presentation, And after you've had a chance to review the information on our website, I would suggest that contact your building principal if you have any other questions that we weren't able to answer. And we'll do the very best we can. Of course, we know that's a moving target. Things are changing every day. So hopefully, we'll provide you with good information about the Virtual Academy, and you'll be able to make an informed decision. All right. Thank you.
I know that this is a really scary time for all of you. And the thought of you turning over your children to us, that's pretty much your most precious possession in the whole world. And it's a huge decision. And we don't take that responsibility lightly. I do want you to know that we worked all summer trying to look at the guidelines and the best practices and look at all the things that we can put in place that will protect your children and the staff of our schools. It's a moving target, and every single day what we think is in place changes. But I will tell you that we're trying to stay current. We're trying to stay really, really focused on what's the best thing for your child. And I know that as you learn information tonight about the Virtual Academy, hopefully it will come to you that this will or will not be the best choice for your child. But whatever it is, you need to do what's best in your heart. I hope you don't feel obligated to go into a brick and mortar routine and come to school. We'd love to have your child at school, but in your heart, if you feel like the Virtual Academy is better, then that's what you need to do. And we support that. So we hope we can answer your questions tonight. And if you have any others that pop into your head in the next few days and the weeks to come, please feel free to reach out and call your principals. Give us a shout. Send us an email. We will do everything we possibly can to answer those questions and get the good information back to you. Christy Graham's going to go through a PowerPoint about the Virtual Academy at this time. I'll do it in a minute.
Okay, it looks like we have the PowerPoint up. First of all, welcome. I will let you know about our two options and more about our Virtual Academy. This is meeting tonight. If you are interested in signing up for Virtual Academy, the enrollment forms are on our website, or I think we've got copies back here that you can pick up if you're interested. And then those enrollment contracts are due by the 13th, because we'll need to be able to get the kids in the system and get them all set up ready to go by the 24th. Oops. Okay, we have, Berryville's offering two options. The first option is your traditional school. The kids come to school just like they normally do, although it will look a little bit different. We'll be practicing social distancing, they'll be wearing masks, things will look different. But as far as the education, it'll be the same as we've always done. The teachers will teach the standards as they've always done, using the curriculum that they use in the classroom. That's the traditional route, if you want to do that. The other route is what we're going to talk about tonight, and that's the virtual school. And in order to do the virtual school, the kids are at home all day. They are working on, we bought a platform that is free to everybody who chooses to use it. And the kids log on whenever they are ready to work. We will take attendance by their completion. As they work through the program and they're making progress, then that will be their attendance. They'll have a certain time period that they have to get their work done. And you'll learn more about the program and how you as a parent can monitor your child and check their progress. So that's basically at home virtual. So that's how it's different from traditional virtual. Traditional, they're at school, teachers are giving the instruction. If they're at home, they are getting instruction through a teacher with ACELUS. It's a certified teacher, but the lessons are taped, it's not live. And then your kid will have, your student will have, or your child will have a Berryville faculty employee that will have your child on their class roster, and they will be that point of contact for your student. If they're struggling, they can send an email. If they don't understand a concept, they can send an email. We would prefer that you try to do your contacts between 7:30 to 3:30 during the day. Our teachers will check it before school, after school, during their prep time. They might check it at lunch, different times during the day. And they will get back to you as soon as they can. There is no direct instruction from a Berryville faculty member. It all is online with the ACELUS instructor. Every course begins with a diagnostic test. Your child will always take a pre-test first. And it's a thing called PRISM Diagnostics. It will see where they are in that course, and it will place them in the success zone that they need to be in. And then as they're taking the test, the instruction will adjust with them with a thing called vectored instruction. That's the way ACELUS is set up. If your child doesn't have the prerequisites to do the course that they're working on, the vectored instruction starts to fill the gap for your kids. So they get lessons that are going to help them be successful in that course. And that's the vectored instruction piece of that. Students can take up to 6 courses. If you're in K-5, you would take the 4 core, science, social studies, math, and literacy, and then you can have up to 2 electives. If you're in high school, you can have 6 electives or 6 choices of courses, and then you have the same rights to the school. You can come to extracurricular activities, they can come to band, choir, they can play football, you can pick up meals, breakfast and lunch, you can take home. I'm trying to think of any things. And if your child is like really advanced and wants to work ahead, they can do 1 course, but that's all. And they can't really do it to try to hurry up and graduate early. So they could take 7 courses instead of 6, but that's all that we would allow. Again, there's no direct instruction from Berryville staff. Berryville staff will monitor your students' progress toward their completion of the course. Faculty is available from 7:30 to 3:30 unless you make an appointment. You can do that. And then emails will be answered, like I said, before and after school. Attendance will be monitored through ACELUS. Teachers will check attendance to see if they're logging on. but it's not like they're going to have to be logged on at a certain time every day and they have to work from 8 to 3 like if they came to school. They might want to work at 8 o'clock at night, and that's fine, or they may want to work on a Saturday. That's fine, as long as they're progressing through their course and they're showing progress and they're going to get done in a time period, then that counts as their attendance. They're online. Students are self-paced. They work through the courses. However, you do have teachers you can touch base with if your child's having trouble. Berryville Virtual Academy is not AMI. We ended the year with AMI where we sent the packets home and kids just did review. This is not review. This is true instruction. Your child will get an instruction every day from an ACELUS certified teacher, and they will have activities that they have to work through. They'll have tests they have to take. Everything is graded on ACELUS. ACELUS does the grading, and then the teacher who is here at Berryville will check in. They will check with your student, and that's the grade that your child will get that goes into the grade card. Your child will still get a grade card. They'll still get a diploma. If they're a senior and they decide to do virtual school, they'll still get a diploma. They still have the rights of a Berryville brick and mortar school, even if they're virtual. However, Virtual Academy is a commitment. So you need to think about, do I think this is good for my child? Because they're going to have to be motivated. They'll have to be self-disciplined. They'll have to be able to work sometimes maybe when you're not home, unless you've got it set up where you have them supervised. But you need to really think about, is this a good option for my child? We will give a 14-day trial period when they start. In that 14 days, if they think, I can't do this, I need to go back to school, then we will allow them to jump out of virtual and into the brick and mortar back to school. If they're in the brick and mortar school and all of a sudden you think, oh, I really want to keep my kid at home, I think I want to go virtual, then you can go virtual. But after you've committed, we would ask that you at least try to finish out the 9 weeks. If there's an extenuating circumstance, talk to administration, tell them your concerns, and then they can work out whether or not you can come out of virtual school early. But they really need to try to be committed at least for that remaining period of the 9 weeks. As I've said throughout, Berryville virtual students are entitled to the same thing that our brick and mortar kids are. They can do the extracurricular activity, special education, if your child's in special education, ESL, GT, gifted and talented. If they receive dyslexia services, if they have 504, they're still going to get all of those modifications. ACELUS actually has classes for special ed, ESL, GT that we can put students on. They can do choir, band, they'll get grades, diplomas, and you can pick up meals. There will be a Chromebook pickup on August 18th for K-5, and when you pick up that Chromebook, that is also the time that we will enroll your child in their classes if you choose to do the virtual. And then on August 19th, for 6 through 12, when they pick up their Chromebooks, that's also when we will enroll your student in their virtual classes. There is a signed contract that you have to agree to, that you'll have to sign. There's a Chromebook agreement form, and we will charge a $25 rental fee for using the Chromebook. And you have to use our Chromebook because it has Google services and different things that we pay for that is licensed to us, and if we have a problem with the Chromebook, then we'll take care of it, but you have to use one of the school's Chromebooks. Oops. Now we have questions. We've been taking questions all day from the community. So I'll just read some of the questions that we've had and give you the answer. Will my kindergartner still learn everything he is supposed to and be prepared for first grade? That is our goal. We as a curriculum team are trying to align the courses in ACELUS, the standards in ACELUS, with the standards that we are teaching in the brick and mortar school. So if you have a child that's virtual, to the best of our ability, we will try to be teaching the same standards that your child's being taught in the virtual school. In the event that they come back, then they've had their standards, the same standards taught. So that's our goal, and that's what we're going to try to do. There'll be some instances where we probably can't do it, but to the best of our ability, we will. Understanding that it is mandatory 9-week commitment. What happens if we decide to go face-to-face? Will the child be behind or ahead of the rest of the class? Well, will virtual school, Acellus teaches the standards just like we do. And like I said, we're going to try to align it so that your student's not behind. What are the hours of virtual school? That's up to you as a parent. We're not going to tell you your kid has to log on at 8 o'clock and they have to work till 3 o'clock. That is up to you as a parent. You decide that. If they want to work at midnight, that's between you and them. Will students still be able to participate in food, Crow, or other services that Mrs. Bunch in the high school offers? Yes, she's making little packets to be able to send home so the students can do their baking and that type of stuff. If a student does virtual, will there ever be a time they physically have to go to school? No, not unless they want to. If they want to come up and do football, they can come up and do football. But if they don't want to step foot on campus, they don't have to until graduation. They would have to come to practice. So they would have to show up for practice. They'd have to show up for choir, that kind of thing. So they would be on campus if they were participating in an extracurricular activity. Okay. For those who choose to do online, will we have to do it just for the first quarter and then have the option to go back to on-site learning? You can do it for the first quarter if you want. If you want your child just to come and do virtual school for the first 9 weeks, see how the COVID thing plays out, everything's getting better, and you want them to come back the second 9 weeks, they're more than welcome to do that. We would love to have them back. When will we know the decision of virtual classes? On August 18th, we'll do K-5, and we'll assign your kids their classes that they're going to take. And on August 19th and 20th, we'll assign the K or the 612 students their classes. So that's when you'll know. How will kids in special education be accommodated if their parents choose to go virtual? If a family chooses the Berryville Virtual Academy for their child with special needs, the district and parent will review the child's current individual educational plan to determine what supports and services are needed in the learning environment to ensure progress toward their IEP goals. The Berryville School District will provide what the team determines necessary for the individual student to access a free and appropriate public education regardless of the learning environment. So that's our promise to you. Since the virtual learning has a 14-day trial period, does it go both ways? Yes. If you want to go brick and mortar for 14 days and it's not working for you, you can go virtual. If you go virtual for 14 days and it's not working, you can come back to the brick and mortar. If we decide to do the virtual learning, when can we pick up a Chromebook? Like I said before, August 18th for K-5, 19th and 20th for 612. Will there be an exception to the mask rule, like the child has breathing issues? With a doctor's note, there will be accommodations made, but we highly encourage you to go virtual if you have a child that really struggles with the mask and they have medical issues.
There will be opportunities where your child won't have to wear the mask during the school day. For example, if they're in the library and they want to read over here and we don't have any other children around them 6 feet or closer, they can take their mask down and sit and read. If they choose to go outside and play and they want to play by themselves or whatever, they can take that mask down and take a respite and not have to wear it. That social distancing piece is critical. When it's safe for them to do that, and the teacher will say, you can take that mask down. We're going to have the mask on lanyards, breakaway lanyards, so it'll just drop down. And then when they're ready to put it back on, or they're getting ready to approach the group again, they can just pop it back on. So they're not going to be on that mask all day long. That's a lot to ask for anyone. And there will be have opportunities to just take it down and get breath.
Okay, my student is in GT. Will they receive the services? Yes, they will receive the services. It might look just a little bit different than it does at the brick and mortar school. So yes, they'll still get it, just might look different. The online program that says that health is a full year instead of a semester like it is in the physical school. Will it just count for health or PE too, since they are normally paired together? The second semester of health from Acellus would be counted as the health and safety as a local credit. So yes, they would get credit for the whole course. It would just, first semester would be health, and the second semester would be health and safety, and it would be a local credit for high school. Do you have to pay for virtual classes? No, the district's picking that cost up for you. How long is the day? Up to you. You can make the day, you can make them work 6 hours one day and 2 hours the next and 5 hours I mean, it's up to you. It just depends on how long it's going to take them to do the courses. Some kids may go through a lot faster. Some kids may struggle. If you have a child who is struggling, we ask that you please contact the principals of your building. They will contact the instructional facilitators or myself. We can adjust your child's courses. If they need it to slow down, we can do that. If we need it to accelerate because you feel like your child's going through it way too fast and they need to be more challenged, let us know, because then we can accelerate that for them. So just let us know if it's not working before you bail on us. Then we'll try our best to fix it.
Also, I would mention, in K-5, your child would also have a mentor, someone else in our building besides the regular classroom teacher, who would also be a contact person that can also help that teacher with providing support when needed.
In Acellus, somebody asked if how the grades would be given. Acellus grades everything. You'll be able to see after your child takes a test or they complete an assignment, you will see a score. The one good thing with Acellus, it's all about mastery. It teaches one content and it teaches it for mastery. So it gives your child an option to go back in. If they don't like their score, they can go back in and improve it. They've got a writing tutor that will help your child if they're writing. It lets them write their paper, they submit it, it gives them feedback. Okay, you've misspelled these words, you have these grammar errors or these punctuation errors. The only thing is, it's not like Word on your computer where it tells you how to spell it. They have to go look it up in the little virtual dictionary and find the correct spelling. And then it'll give them hints about punctuation and grammar so that they can fix it and they have the opportunity to fix it. Then once they submit it, it grades it again. Then it gives them a level of their writing. If they're a 6th grade student, it'll say they're writing at 5th grade level, or they might be writing at 7th grade level, or whatever level. It also gives them suggestions on how they can fix their writing. And it lets them, again, submit if they don't like the score that they got. And then they can redo it with the suggestions from Acellus and try to improve their score. Yes? No. Nope. Everything's online. The only contact that really you will have with us is like if you need help from us, let us know. If your student's struggling and they don't understand a concept, email the teacher because they'll help out.
I would say this, one question that came up was, there is that potential, Mr. McClellan brought this up, toward the end of the year we do our ACT Aspire testing, state required testing. We don't have the word on that yet. So that's the one potential.
We don't know that yet.
Yeah, we don't know that information yet. So
we don't even know if we'll be taking the test. What did you say?
Well,
I don't know if you can add any substitutes for candidates with
yeah, well, I appreciate that question. At this point in time, all volunteer programs are shut down. But we use WillSub as our company that provides our substitutes. Yes, so those people who pass their background checks, have qualified to work for WillSub, yes, we'll have substitute teachers in the building when needed. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
At the intermediate school, it will be the classroom teacher.
Mr. Swafford's going to have some mentors, but by law, it has to be a certified teacher that is the teacher of record. So we have, like, for example, everybody right now is assigned to a teacher. Whichever students go virtual, they'll still stay with that teacher.
Oh,
Yes. And even in Acellus, they are certified teachers.
What's interesting about that, I want to still build that relationship so that if you choose to come back to school, then they're already familiar with their teacher at school. So we want to build that relationship early.
We have a question. Can my son do virtual learning and still attend the C4 program? Yes, they may. If your child wants to do JAG, which is I don't know what those stand for, if they want to work and go to school at the same time, they can do that. But they do have to come to a face-to-face meeting at 5th hour, and that's 11:21 to 12:06. So if they want to do JAG, they can, but there is a requirement there.
Hopefully,
I know that's silly and that's probably not the most concerning thing.
No. Handwriting is very important. I'm not sure that there's handwriting on Acellus, so that might have to be
Good question.
that is a good question. That's something I will go check. Mhm.
and Ms. Leland, that may be something that mentor or teacher with that email to them may be able to provide an alternative website that would help them with handwriting.
Because there's probably some out there that we could find you. Yes. Not through Acellus. That will be provided with their teacher that they normally would do here on campus, probably through Zoom. I know some did it through the AMI time, and they'll do it similar to that. They'll contact parents, ask if they want the services, and then they'll set up some way for those children to receive their services. Acellus has two things that it has: the PRISM diagnostics, which will diagnose your student. And as the student is working through their assignment, if they miss a question, it automatically analyzes why that student missed that question. And then it's going to give them, say, for example, it's a decimal question and they just didn't have the decimal in the right place. Acellus picks that up, so they give them more practice in how to move the decimal. If it's a multiplication error, then they will give them more practice with multiplication. If it's if they added instead of multiplied, or they carried their 10 and they didn't carry it correctly, it senses that and it gives them more practice. The vectored instruction, if I have a child who's in algebra and that child is struggling in algebra because they do not have the prerequisite skills that they need in order to do algebra, it's gonna drop them down and start to give them those prerequisite skills, but they're still gonna be doing algebra. But the computer senses it. It's gonna back up. But they'll still be working in the same course level. It doesn't drop them out of the course. If they're taking algebra, they're going to stay in algebra. It's just going to give them the support they need in order to be successful in algebra. Yes.
What if you miss that?
There is a progress bar, and we'll set a goal for them, and there's so many things that they need to do in, maybe a day. So that maybe they had 12 steps they were supposed to do today, but they only did 2 steps. Well, the next day it's going to give them 12 steps plus those 10 they didn't do. So you as a parent, you'll be able to see that progress and say, hey, you haven't been working. And our teachers will be looking at that too. They may call you and say, hey, little Johnny's not been online for a while and he's so many steps behind.
Sir, did you have a quick question? I'm sorry.
With mathematics, specifically algebra, you're working on equations to make a mistake. Your algorithm is not available about that. Just gonna never have.
They tell me in the program that it analyzes the mistakes because it's got thousands of kids that it looks at what mistake was made and it predicts why they made that mistake.
Well, you're not gonna do their work.
No, they'll do their work in the program. You can. It's all done, right? Nothing's done on paper. It's done all on the screen. Are we about out of time?
We're almost out of time. Yes, a couple more questions.
One, always have a progress, get something on the beforehand. And so we still expect that communication from our teacher, so we won't get that contact.
Well, you're in that situation. That teacher's looking at the grades that your child has received from Acellus, and so that is your feedback, and that's more constant.
You'll get reports.
You'll get reports. And so,
And at any one time, you can look in and see where your child is. You don't have to wait until midterm. You'll always know where they are.
so as far as a parent-teacher conference, no, not with virtual academy.
And so if we have any whatsoever, it's a virtual option. And we feel that we can contact our child within some time, they will be there.
We're of course, they're going to be extremely busy in the classroom. That's the reason I look at it as more office hours and being respectful. If you want to submit something, but also them being available to call you during their prep time, or like Chrissy said, right before school or after school. But unlike AMI, where we had some teachers, bless their hearts, were answering questions at 9 o'clock at night, that's just not going to happen. Try to limit that to those office hours. So.
Or by appointment, if you need to talk to them, you can make.
Last question, Ms. Lee.
When we're learning how to use so when they're doing almost are they doing it's not on the computer, it's so all of it will be
Everything will be on the computer. Mm-hmm. And Acellus has a tutorial that will take your student through how to use Acellus. And once your child is signed up, there's a parent registration button that you will have to go in and you will have to register your parent email address so that Acellus can send you information. And I'll be honest, we've just had the program since Monday, so we're still learning it. But here's an example. One of my facilitators was just playing around because we set up an account for a fake student and a demo teacher so that we could see both sides. She went in and was just guessing answers. Acellus turned around and sent an email to the teacher that said, this child is guessing. You need to reposition them. Then the child gets an email that says, oops, you've been guessing. You're wasting your time. We suggest that you go back and you try to listen more carefully to the teacher, or maybe possibly read the answers more carefully. So, I mean, it's going to give you things like that, Acellus will.
Guys, I don't want to rush you off, but we need to make room for the high school group coming in. So I want to thank you again, and please don't hesitate. Christy's there and available. Principals are available. Just give us a call if you have any additional questions. Thank you so much. Sure. Try really hard.
Good evening. I'm Mrs. Armstrong. I'm the principal here at the Bearville High School, and I would like to thank you for coming. This shows me that you are interested in your child's education, and this is a huge decision. It's not for everybody. We don't have the answers to what's going to be best for your child, so that's something that you're going to have to figure out and listen to all the information that we're going to be giving you. But the bottom line is, if this is something you want to do, we need to know by August 13th. There'll be forms out here on this table before you go out, so please make sure that you pick up a form. Okay? There will be a chance possibly to ask questions towards the end. Once again, thank you for coming.
Good evening. I'm John McClellan. I'm the middle school principal, and we feel like we've came up with a good plan for brick and mortar instruction, for virtual instruction for all of our students. You're going to learn a lot of things tonight about virtual students have the same options that our brick and mortar students do. All of your questions might not be answered tonight, but feel free to reach out to me, Jay McClellan at bobcat.k12.ar.us, or Mrs. Armstrong. You can find all of our information, our contacts on our website. We will be glad to answer your question, or call the offices, leave a message, because we are in training for the rest of this week and next week, but we will call you back. And if we can be of help of any way, just let us know. Thank you.
My name is Christy Graham, and I'm the school improvement specialist. So I'm going to take you through the PowerPoint and let you know about our two options. And like Mrs. Armstrong said, if you are interested in virtual school, contracts or your commitment forms need to be in by August 13th. We have two options that we're offering Berryville school students. We have option one, which is the traditional school. Kids will come to school just like they normally do. It'll just look different. We'll have social distancing. Kids will be wearing masks. They'll be drinking out of water bottles instead of water fountains. It'll look different. Teachers will use the same curriculum that they use in class. They'll teach lessons just like they always have. It'll look the same. If you choose to go virtual, it will look different. Virtual is at home. The kids are independent. They are working through the lessons themselves. There's no time that your child has to be logged in. They are on their own with you helping and motivating them to get their work done. The students will learn full-time off-site with an Acellus instructor. The Acellus instructor is certified, but all of the instruction will be done through Acellus. There will not be any direct instruction from a Berryville school faculty member. The curriculum that we're going to use is called Acellus. If you want to check it out and look at it a little bit more, just go to acellus.com, ACELLUS. Every course begins with a pretest. Once the child takes the test, there are two things that Acellus does. They have a prison diagnostics. It will diagnose the child, and as they're working through their problems, it will look to see how they're missing their answers. And something in the system, you would have to know more about technology than I do, somehow they've come up with some way that they analyze the question of the thousands of kids who do the Acellus courses. They analyze why these kids missed it for this reason. Maybe it was multiplication. These kids missed it because they think it was a regrouping issue. These kids missed it because they added instead of multiplied. And once Acellus thinks that's the problem, they're going to throw more practice questions at your student in order to help them understand the concept. Because Acellus teaches one concept at a time, and it teaches it to mastery. So when your child struggles, it's going to give them more information until they master that concept. The student and then there's another thing called the vectored instruction. That's when, let's say your child's in algebra and your child does not have the prerequisite skills that it takes for them to be successful in algebra. Then the vectored instruction says, oh, they're missing some holes in their education in order to complete this course. So it's going to give them the information or the the teaching that they need in order to fill those gaps so that they can complete that algebra course. It won't drop them out of algebra. They'll still be in algebra, but it's going to give them things to help them be successful in that algebra course. It's going to back up, give them those prerequisite skills that they don't have. 612 students can take up to 6 courses. They can take one additional course, as the handbook says, but nowhere, I mean, we don't advocate for kids to take a whole lot of courses and graduate early. That's not the purpose of this. They can take 7 courses if they want, but we're not trying to advocate that they graduate early, and we really don't want them to. If you have a K-5 student, they'll pick the 4 core, which is literacy, math, science, social studies, and then they can have 2 electives if they want. The role of Berryville staff. Like I said before, there is no direct instruction from a faculty member. All the instruction is done through ACELUS, and it is a certified teacher that is pre-recorded. And they will watch a lesson from a teacher, then they will have assignments that they have to complete, and then they'll have tests that they have to take. ACELUS grades everything. So the grade that you get comes from ACELUS. The teacher on site here at Berryville will be monitoring your child's progress as they're going through ACELUS. They will get the grade when it's grade card time, and they'll still get a grade. You'll get a report. You'll get progress reports from ACELUS. There won't be any parent-teacher conferences that you have to come to because our teachers didn't do the instruction. They just help to monitor. They are available if your child's having questions or problems and they have a question and they need to contact a real teacher that they can talk to. Our teachers will be answering emails before school, after school, during the day, when they have a chance, like at their prep time. They may choose at recess, they have a few minutes and they can check email, or at lunch, they might check the email then. But we only are going to require that they check email from 7:30 to 3:30 because when we did AMI, we had some teachers that were doing emails at 9 o'clock at night, and that takes away from their family. Attendance. Attendance is monitored through ACELUS. They do not have to log on at 8 o'clock and work till 3 o'clock. They can log on at midnight and work if they want to. They can work on Saturday. They can work on Sunday. The only thing is that ACELUS has a goal will be set for them to complete that course. And so there will be a little progress bar that you as a parent can watch, and our teachers can monitor it also. And that progress bar will make progress and show you if you're behind, if you're on target to finish the course when it's supposed to be done. If our teachers notice that your child's not working enough, they'll be contacting you and say, hey, your child's getting behind. It'll assign, it might say, you've got 12 steps you have to do today. If your child only does 6, then the next day it's got 12 steps plus the 6 they didn't do. So, but they choose when they want to work. That's how we will do their attendance, is if they're online. Students will self-pace themselves. That's the whole purpose of virtual. Berryville Virtual Academy is not AMI. It's not like the packages that we sent home, or the packets that we sent home at the end of school last year, where the kids just did review. This is real learning. They'll be taught by a certified teacher. They'll have tests. They have assignments they have to complete, just like if they were taking a class online with the college, like college classes if you did as an adult. They need, if your child, you or your child, if you're thinking about doing virtual, you need to really consider, is this for your child? It takes motivation. It takes organization and self-discipline with your child. If your child doesn't have that, virtual might not be the best thing for them. And it might be difficult for you. It may be a headache for you trying to get them to get their work done. Also think about internet capability. We'll provide the Chromebooks, but we won't be providing the internet. We do have some hotspots that may be available, but I'm not sure how many that would be. We will give the students a 2-week trial period if they want to do virtual school. So they're working in the virtual school and they get to that second week and you are thinking, no, we can't do this. And the child's thinking, no, I can't do this. Then you can pop back in to our brick and mortar school. They can come back to our class. We'll be glad to have them. If they're working here and all of a sudden you think, okay, I'm nervous, I want to pull my kid out, or they're not doing, you can go virtual. So you can choose that option. There is after that commitment, after that trial period, we do ask that they stay at least for until that quarter is finished, that 9 weeks. Just makes it easier on us for the transition. But if there is extenuating circumstances and you're very concerned, see your building school principal. And you can talk about it and they'll determine whether or not they think your child needs to move. If you are a virtual student, you have the same offerings as if you were here. If you want to take football, you can come to school and you can go to football practice. You want to take choir, you can come to choir and take choir. If your child is in special education, or they require ESL services, or they're gifted and talented, or they've got dyslexia, they can have their services here. We will still provide that. They'll still get grades, they'll still get a diploma, and if you need to pick up meals, there'll be posted times of when you can pick up breakfast and lunch for your student or your child and take it home. Chromebook pickup. When you pick up your Chromebooks, that's when we're also going to enroll your child into their Acellus classes. So K-5 will be August 18th, and then 6-12 will be August 19th and 20th, and be from 10 to 6. So you can bring your child in. Are we having child come in? The parent's supposed to do it, or both can come. You can bring your child, and we'll enroll them for the classes they need for Acellus. You'll get your Chromebook. If there is a required non-refundable $25 rental fee for the Chromebook, and then you will have to sign a Chromebook agreement at that time. Okay, questions? I'll read through some. We've had questions started last night and going all day today. One of them says, I understand that it is mandatory 9-week commitment. What happens if we decide to go face-to-face? Will my child be behind or ahead of the rest of the class? As a curriculum team here at Berryville, we are going to do our very best to try to align our standards that we're teaching in class to the standards that are being taught in Acellus. So when your child's doing their work in Acellus, those same standards are being taught at school. It's just going to be different. They're going to have a different teacher. It'll be presented differently. But when they come, if they decide, or if you decide virtual's not working for us, or the COVID goes away and you want to come back, then our hope is that they'll step in and they won't have missed any standards or be behind. That's our hope. What are the hours of virtual school? You set the hours. You and your child work on that. There was a question about Mrs. Bunch's Food Pro, if students could participate in that. Yes, she has a plan for that. She's packaging up the supplies that you need, that the child will need to cook meals and that kind of stuff. So there is a plan for that. If a student does virtual, will there ever be a time that they physically have to be on campus? No, unless they have to come take and they'd have to come take both the ACT test or the ACT Aspire. They would have to come on campus then, because it has to be done here on campus. But they wouldn't have to come any other time unless they want to participate in some extracurricular activity. And they can do that. 504, if your child gets 504 services, it's just like SPED. Yes, their accommodations will still be provided for them. One question is, if I choose to go online the first quarter and the second quarter I decide I want to come back to virtual school, thank you. The virtual school, yes, you can come back. After that 9 weeks, you are welcome back. You'll know when will we know the decisions of the virtual classes? That will be on August 18th for K-5, and that will be August 19th and 20th for your 612. How will kids in special education be accommodated if their parents choose the virtual learning option? If a family chooses the Berryville Learning or the Berryville Virtual Academy for their child with special needs, the district and parent will review the child's current individual education plan to determine what supports and services are needed in the new learning environment to ensure progress toward their IEP goals. The Berryville School District will provide what the team determines necessary for the individual students to access a free and appropriate public education regardless of the learning environment. If we decide to do virtual, when can we pick up Chromebook? Again, the 18th and 19th and 20th. That's not virtual. My student is in GT. Will they receive services? Yes, it just may look different than it would here at school. The online program says that health is a full year instead of a semester like it is in physical school. Will it just count for health or PE2 since they are normally paired together? The second semester of health from a CELUS would be counted as a health safety credit, and it would be a local credit. So yes, they can complete the whole course, and yes, we'll give them credit for that. Do you have to pay anything for virtual classes? No, the school district is providing that for you free of charge. The only thing we ask is a $25 rental fee for your Chromebook. I think we already talked about that one. How are sports going to be affected with the COVID-19 restrictions? We are following the guidelines, and as of now, we expect to have fall sports.
Correct.
Correct?
Mm-hmm.
How are grades given? A CELUS gives the grades. You will not get a grade from a Berryville faculty staff member. A CELUS grades everything, and your student gets the grade then. Thing with a CELUS, students do have an opportunity to, if they don't like their score, they can make it better because a CELUS is about mastery of their content, mastery of the concept. So that's one thing that they're known for. Will I be able to do choir? Yes. One question was, will I be able to do the competitions? Band, yes. Competitions only if competitions are happening.
Yes.
Another question, can my son do virtual learning and attend the C4? Yes, they can attend C4. If they want to do the JAG program, Jobs for Arkansas grads. They can do that. The only requirement is that they have to come to school face-to-face the 5th period, which is 11:21 to 12:06. So they have to do that if they want to do JAG. That's a requirement. But they are welcome to do it. There was a question about when do students who want to enroll in on-site school. That was today. But if you're a student, if your child is already enrolled, they're already enrolled. They don't need to enroll in on-site school. Only if they're a new student to our district do they need to enroll, and that actually happened today. So you have to go to the offices to enroll, correct?
Yes.
How long is a virtual day? It's up to you. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am. No.
So the question was, how is the CELUS monitored or attendance taken through a CELUS, correct?
And attendance is, our teachers will monitor that your child is on and that they are progressing in their courses. You as a parent can also monitor that they are progressing in their courses. That's how we will take attendance. Nope. If they want to do homework on Saturday and not on Wednesday, they can do that. Any other questions? Yes. Acellus has AP courses. They are National Board certified. Yes.
Would you ask that again?
We will have to investigate that question. Thank you for the question. Yes, ma'am.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
If they're virtual school, it's a question about transportation.
For regular students coming to school. So we are, you're asking if we're following the CDC guidelines and all of those things. Okay. So right now, the way I understand it, we are running our buses normally. We don't have enough bus drivers or time in the day to transport 1,300 kids if all those kids get matched. So, but they will be required to wear masks on the bus.
K-12 students.
K-12.
And temperatures will be checked.
And temperatures will be checked by the bus driver if they're a bus driver. Does that answer your question? Or?
I think we had one back here.
So in the event school closes down, and I'm doing this for live, so we can ask questions. In the event the school closes down, will we do a CELUS, or will it be like AMI in the spring?
It will not be like AMI in the spring. If you are a K-5 student, it will be a CELUS. If you are a 612 student, if you have a 612 student and you're here and we go home, our teachers have an option. They can continue their lessons just like they're doing and push them out through Google. They can choose to use our Edgenuity platform that has courses, or they can use a CELUS. So your teacher will let you know what they're going to do in that. I think he wants you to be closer to the mic. So teachers will have options. Yes, ma'am.
So the question is, do you have to do your work on a CELUS on the school Chromebook, or can you do it on personal computer, phone, etc., correct? You'll have to use a school-issued Chromebook for that purpose. And that's because of the Google licensing, security filters, things of that nature.
Yes, sir.
We have a real big issue. We have panels on Google doing teachers getting the assignments all down. And we had an investigator email address, and we were getting more is that is the result.
Okay, the question is, they were having issues during AMI with email addresses, 2 different email addresses. We still have both of these email addresses, but we will be, the email address that for students to send in work is that berryville.k12.ar.us.
If they are doing virtual school, everything will be turned in through a CELUS, and your communication will come through a CELUS. So when you log on, there'll be a little envelope-looking icon up in the right-hand corner, and you'll click on that. That's where your message will come from your teacher. That's how you will message your teacher if you are a virtual student using a CELUS.
Safety is in school is set up and usually a trouble and a computer and help.
So the question is, can you use Acellus as a tutoring solution?
We haven't had that question come up. That would have to be something we'd have to discuss.
Our teachers will still provide tutoring here on site, so we have tutoring in any capacity that you would want.
My first instinct is yes, they probably could use it, but I don't know. I'll have to check with that. I'll have to check with admin and see what our direction's going to be. But for practice,
I think so.
we'll look into that. I think we could probably offer that, but I'll have to check with admin and see what they say.
Go ahead, Newt. So you will, your schedule, sorry, will, let me say it. So will your schedule be the same whether you're virtual or on-site instruction, correct? Okay, so, and what about C4? It will look the same. The way your day works out would be different, though, just because of how you choose to do it. C4, you would find that out from the high school counselors, Mrs. Huffman and Mrs. McClain. We're probably going to be closer to that 19-20 days once we get all these intent to enroll in virtual school. We can kind of have that schedules fixed by then, we hope.
And if you have courses right now that you're signed up for that you did through CAPS conferences and you decide to go virtual, we will try our very best to align Acellus to those courses that you chose. Because there's a lot of courses that Acellus offers. High school, we've also got Edgenuity that we can offer too. So we should be able to closely align your schedule. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have to fully load your schedule with 6 classes, or if you just need 2 credits, is that possible?
If you're a senior, you can take just what you need.
Good question. Any other questions?
We have one over here. So if my student is doing virtual, how do we get into football? We will call if you'll let us know that, we'll get in touch with the coach, or if you have the coach's number, you can get in touch with them. Let us know that, we can get it on your schedule. They would have to come on site for football practice, games, etc.
And when we do that on the 18th, and 19th, and the 20th, and we enroll kids in Acellus, that's when you can let us know, because that'll be part of their courses, and then we can let you know the proper, whether it's choir, band, football, we'll let them know. Right back here.
Okay, so the question was, if your child has to get therapies, occupational therapy, physical therapy, etc., how do they do that and still be a virtual student?
Yes, that is possible. And what we're going to do for the parents that choose virtual for their student with special needs, we're going to set up a meeting and we're going to review the child's IEP and how those services will take place. For example, for speech, OT, and PT, we could give you the option to do on-site therapy still, and we could set up a time where you could bring the child for their services, or we could also do some teletherapy services as well. But your child is still going to receive those services.
Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so how does concurrent credit work with virtual school? Do we just contact the counselor?
Yes, we contact the counselor. Any other questions?
like the AP question.
So if you, as a student, you want to be in virtual, but you want to come take like Mrs. Bunch's food production class or East class, is that possible and still be a virtual student, come on site for a couple periods?
Yes, that's pretty much like the AP question. We hadn't been asked that. So from what I understand, if you're virtual unless it's extracurricular. So if you're brick and mortar, you're here every day. So from what I understand right now, it's just extracurricular that you would come on campus for, not pick and choose. I want history and I want, this teacher an A-push or whatever.
Do we have another, Mrs. Price? Okay, since virtual students would only be taking 6 credits through Acellus, will that still keep them on track to graduate on time?
And that is six courses per semester, just like at school. Isn't it 6 per semester? Isn't that right? It's not just 6 all year.
So yes.
Would they have possibility to get 12? Any other questions?
Right back over here, dude. Okay, if my child is in athletics and is a virtual student, what is our rule about when they can come to campus and when they leave campus?
Basically, when they have practice, that's when they would come and they would leave after practice. They just go to the gym or to the football field or whatever that they're participating in extracurricular.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So the question is about if you're on-site instruction, brick and mortar instruction, is there going to be more cleaning, disinfecting, things of that nature?
Yes. The school district has purchased fogger machines for the classrooms, the buses. They'll be disinfecting. They won't be using the water fountains. We've bought bottle dispensers that they can put their water in. Yes, we are taking all the precautions.
Hand
that we need to.
sanitizers in each classroom.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
So basically the question is, do we have a plenty of supply of Chromebooks for all of our student body?
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes. They're not all here yet, but yes, they all will have, and that will be K-12 is my understanding.
And 6-12 can take their Chromebooks home nightly if they're on site. K-12 or K-5's Chromebooks will stay in the classroom, but in the event we have to go home for an extended period of time, a Chromebook will go with the child. Yes.
Okay, is there distancing in each classroom and at lunch, or are they going to be wearing masks all day?
We are trying to social distance our students in classrooms as much as possible so that they can possibly take off their masks during class. During lunch, we will have them socially distanced so they can take off their mask. And if they are in the hallway, they'll probably have to wear their mask. There will be times they get to take their mask off during the day. They won't have to wear it all day. If we can socially distance, they can take it off. If not, they'll have them on.
One more question. We'll take one last question.
Okay.
So the question is, if we are forced to close for whatever reason, for a case or 3 cases or whatever it is, can the parent request what virtual instruction they get?
I'm gonna go ahead and
Go
answer
ahead,
that
because I don't know
question.
that answer.
I would, if you are concerned about that or what your teacher, contact the teacher first, okay? And try to email them. If you don't get it resolved, contact the building principal.
Okay, I think that was the last question. I hope it was informative and that you learned what you needed to learn. If you didn't, please contact your school principals during the week, the remainder of this week and next week. They will be in training, so just leave a message and they'll call you back.
We'll get right back to you. And there are forms back there, and they're also online. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.